Give me a second, I'll turn that off. Now it's off. Morning. I don't know if this is even gonna work. I've done a couple live feeds, guys, and I get frustrated, and I don't want you guys to think I'm upset with you guys for not joining in. Every once in a while I'll do a live feed, and it just sits like this, and people will try to log in. Jeremy's here. Okay, so it's working. It's working, okay. So there's times where like I'll stand here and I'm like, is this even gonna work? And you'll see like one person, it shows up, it says that there's a person, and then it says there's no one, and then it says there's a like, and then it says there's 3 people, and it says there's no one, and they just don't work. I don't need you on here. I talk to you enough. I've got an owie. I've got an owie. You guys know that full mixed rider custom that I have? I had it out yesterday. I was taking some pictures of it, and I was pretty sure that I was going to try and sell it again, and then I was like, you know what? There's no way I can sell this right now. Just, I mean, financially in the world, no one's going to buy that knife. And so I was fucking around with it, and it bit me real good. That thing is so sharps. Well, you saw it, like I took a picture of it and I kept trying to get a picture of it. It was bleeding so bad that I couldn't even, I couldn't tell how bad the cut was really until this morning. If it had been in a place where there was more available flesh, it would have needed probably 3 or 4 stitches. But what it did was it went down and it rolled up that thin skin right behind the thumbnail. They won't sew that. If you've ever cut yourself really good there, it's tender. It's tender. It's going, hey, remember your right thumb? Yeah, you ought to. You know what won't close on you? You want won't slam shut on your thumb? This. Guys, I love this knife. I'm happy. I'm really happy with what Artisan did. Only 3 people here this morning. Wow. Did you guys get notifications or just happen to? I don't know. We just had I had a lengthy conversation with our U.S. rep yesterday about it. I told him, he was like, okay, I need like not just a text saying, hey, roll with them. He's like, I need to know exactly what you want. So I sent him an email yesterday. I told him all the stuff about it. I was like, I want to leave it just the way it is. I want the sharp spots here. I don't want them to soften those edges. I want that in case you want to strike a ferro rod with the back of this fairly easily. We talked about the steel, which I'm never going to give you guys the composition until they say I can. Until they release it, you won't hear it from me because it's proprietary. People are flipping out about that. That's bullshit. I want to know what it's made of. And I was like, yeah, okay. I'll text you after this. Like, well, I got to know what steel is and this and that. And I was like, if it wasn't good, I wouldn't have said roll with it. As a matter of fact, I have 2 knives on me that are in that steel. I like the steel a lot, and I really like this little knife. I'm going to do a full review of this Rhea. I did an exclusive upfront first impressions for the channel members, the paying members. But I'm going to do a full-on review video of it. This knife, if you can get... I told Russell on the phone, I was like, you guys are not charging enough for this knife. There's no way that this is not costing you in the long run. And he goes, nope, that's just the price. You can find these places for 40, I would say they're on price $40 some places. I think retail price, MSRP is like 75, the CJRB Rhea. This thing, best thing about it, look at the blade shape. It's just a scalpel blade, but bigger. It's pretty all right. I'm gonna tell you right now, I really, really, really like this little knife. So of all the stuff they sent me, some of that stuff's getting given away. This is mine. It's in my pocket all the time. I did a lot of steel testing yesterday. I cut down, I'd go out and show you, but it's out. Oh yeah, we can do it. I cut down a bunch of cardboard. Dollar Tree. Don't mind the mess. I haven't cleaned up out here in a little while. So that can right there, that's my trash can. And I had been stacking up all the cardboard I could find. And so I cut all of that cardboard. So almost half of that to about here. Cut up all that cardboard with that little Rhea. The good blade shape for that is a little bit better for me for cutting up cardboard in the yard. So I cut it up with that, and I did not put it on a stone, and dropped it and got it back up to where it was. I mean, don't get me wrong, I had a little bit of edge issues, but I stropped it a couple times and it came right back up screaming sharp. And I was like, it doesn't chip. Like I heard someone say that this feels like S30V. It does not chip like S30V. And somebody was like, well, then is it like S35VN? It's actually, it feels more when you sharpen it and the edge it takes and the way it holds an edge, it feels like RWL34. But in feel alone, it's not the same in composition. So, steel's a weird beast. Depending on what components and stuff are in it, you can get some weird stuff. But I will say I have not washed this knife off. I've used this to cut meat, onions, tomatoes, carrots. I had some radishes I cut the tops off of, which usually will stain a knife real quickly. And all I did was either rinse it off in the sink or wipe it on my pants. And I have seen no patina, no discoloring. It's really, really corrosion resistant. There's some tests I would run if I didn't care about keeping this knife, but I'm not that guy. I don't have any beets. I'm not gonna leave this thing sit in salt water for 6 weeks and things like that. You guys wouldn't, that's the kind of thing like, oh, we're gonna check on it every week for 6 weeks. I'm not Tyler Tube. I may look like him, but I'm smarter than that imbecile.
We'll leave eggs in mouthwash for 90 days.
That's Rhett and Link content. Find some original shit. I still watch his channel just because I laugh. I'm like, this idiot. That's Sunblade HQ. Well, I mean, they can do that. That's some experimental stuff. You guys don't expect this from this channel. And I would remind all of you guys, don't forget, I think that some of the new members on the channel have forgot, the new subscribers on the channel, I should say. This is a sharpening service. And I keep getting, hey, I don't know if you sharpen knives. And I was like, it says right in the description on every video for sharpening, call, or sharpening, email me. And so I get all kinds of text messages and stuff. Hey, I don't know if you offer sharpening. And I giggle because the funny thing is where they're getting the phone number is at the beginning of the video where it says crazy sharpening service. I mean, that's the only place they'd be getting it. Can't or don't. I mean, it's a thing. Don't get me wrong. I'm not, it doesn't bother me. I just have established that anyone that is like 25 years old or younger, I'm going to have to walk through the steps, everything the first time we ever have an interaction. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I mean, I enjoy it. Okay, Bradley. Bradley's a member on the channel. Bradley has been following his channel since I started, pretty much, I think. Bradley's been around for a long time. He's been following me on Instagram and on YouTube for a very long time. And I still have to walk him through the process of a knife to and from me. I'm like, Bradley, you got to pay me up front, bro. Oh yeah, I forgot. I'm like, Bradley, I'm clowning on you, but you know it's true. But I mean, he's been great. I've done some stuff. I've done a bunch of stuff for Bradley Leffert, one of the members, the paying members on the channel. I've done a bunch of stuff for him. I've modified knives for him. I've done orange peel, anodizing, sharpening, ceramic coating. I think I even modified a pocket clip for. I modified a pocket clip for him. I'm pretty sure. Coffee's hot. I fixed my Keurig, sis, if you're still here. Fixed my Keurig. 14 of us and only 3 legs. It is a great, so he's talking about this knife again. This is a great little knife. It will get its own video. It's sore. It's sore and it's still bleeding a little. Okay, it went, if it was in a different area, I would have been able to get stitches. And the fact is, I have to go buy super glue today for one specific reason, for my thumb. It's still bleeding. It's deep. So it went in and then I moved. And so it went almost to the bone and then rolled forward and just rolled up basically from here over. It like rolled that whole flap right behind the quick of the thumb. It rolled it right up and I was like, "Ugh, did it really hurt?" That mixed strider is so sharp. And somebody was saying that now that it bit me, I have to keep it. I mean, they're not going to make it anyway. This is a great little knife. And the micarta just sets it off. I am going to see if I can figure out what size screw this is and get an extra one and shorten it. I think that this would be a good pocket knife, like pocket knife, without the pocket clip. Don't get me wrong, the pocket clip on this, the way it's shaped, this thing is really comfortable. I cut up all that cardboard. Oh, what I was saying about cutting up all that cardboard. All I did was strop this. And I'm gonna tell you right now, if you have one of these and it's in AR RPM 9, not D2, if you have one of the nice ones that's in the proprietary steel, the best thing, you guys are gonna laugh when I say this because I'm gonna do a video about, for the members, I've got a members only tutorial video that I'm probably gonna do today because I have to do stone maintenance today. So that's what it's gonna be. That's the next logical. I did them, is a sharpening system correct for you? I did, you know, what abrasives are right for you? And now I'm going to do, how do you maintain those abrasives? Because I have to maintain my stones today because I've got stuff in from Knife Junkie. I've got stuff in from Ryan here. I've got stuff in from a couple of you guys for sharpening. And so I have to maintain my stones because they're a little dished out. And I was like, well, if I'm gonna do it, I may as well film it for the tutorial series for the top tier members. So, but at any rate, what I was saying is this strops best. So far, I've tried all of my strops. The diamond strops do okay. The chromium oxide does okay. Nothing, you know, just basic strop. Where it really gets an edge that you go, ooh, wow, well, oh my. Newspaper. I wrapped my strop in newspaper and it went from, it's sharp to, this is a 600 grit edge, by the way. 600 grit, stropped on newspaper, and then finished on suede with no, I'm not using any stropping compound. And it is ridiculous how sharp this is. You know, stuff that sometimes can be hard to cut, like everybody laughs, like I say, saran wrap is actually surprisingly hard to cut with a pocket knife, unless you wind it up and cut it. Your polypropylene plastics, when they're real thin, they don't want to cut, they just want to tear away. That will slice right through saran wrap. Like, you're like, ooh, that's sharp. You probably cut a paper towel. I know that's everybody's, oh, cut a paper towel. You guys saw me do it before. You saw me take a knife and run it on a, it's AR RPM 9. It's the same proprietary steel that's in, it's the same one we were talking about. It's trying to cut it, but like I said, I didn't put this back on a stone. This is just stropped after having cut all that cardboard. So I did a video, tier 1. I did a video. Yeah, that's the one Sea Snake will come in. I did an actual video, tier 1, about sharpening on a car window. Shrink wrap is butter to the, it's the same steel that this comes in. I did the same sharpening on this. I will tell you, I have taken it I've taken both of these all the way up to 12,000, and I've felt them as they go back. It will take an incredibly fine edge. It really will, if that's what you're looking for. Like if you want to make this into a straight razor, but just like everything, you have your pluses and minuses. Like I said, this is a 600 grit edge, stropped on paper towel, or not paper towel, newspaper. And I'm telling you right now, let's see this one. I haven't cut much with this one. It's not this one's not great for that. But this is just hair popping, screaming sharp at 600 grit with that strop. And like I said, I'm stropping it on newspaper. Actually, it's not. That's what I've been telling people. It feels and acts and holds an edge like RWL 34. I just said it's the AR RPM 9. It's their proprietary steel. It's this steel, the same steel that's in this that I was just talking about. Same steel in the Sea Snake. And everybody's like, oh, it's an unknown. Look, guys, I'm telling you right now, you guys know how picky I am, especially, like, I'm picky about stuff other people make. I'm picky about shit they make. Can you imagine how insanely anal retentive I am about this knife being produced? This is me saying, yeah, you can put my name on this. I wouldn't do that if this was not a good steel. So people are like, I don't know. Guys, I'm a professional knife sharpener, and I'm telling you, the shit is insane. The stuff, it's some of the best steel, some of the best new steel. It's really corrosion resistant. It's some of the best steel I've tested, like, without knowing what I was getting into. You know, every once in a while, you'll get something that's like newer and stuff like that. Like LMAX was back in the day when I first got it, and I was like, okay. Now, so far, of all the things that I've gone into really kind of blind, not knowing what to expect, this is probably the best. And it's not just because it's in my knife. I would be telling you that if they had just sent me this to test and we were going to do my knife in a different steel. It is better than D2. It is better than that 14C, 14C28. It's better than that. It's super rust resistant. Like I said, I have, what was I cut the, I opened a thing of hydrochloric acid because I had a stain in the garage and I wanted to try and clean it up, and it didn't work. It didn't clean up what I wanted. It cleaned it, but it still, everything's still, so now I have a really bright spot with a dark spot in the middle. So, I cut muriatic acid open with this, and muriatic acid will stain, and I cut the seal on it. I had it on the blade and I set it down and I cleaned up the spot. And I was like, oh, I should probably wipe that off, and went back. It didn't even leave a stain. Onions, tomatoes, things that usually will stain a patina blade, I'm not seeing it. And so it's holding edge really well. Like I said, I cut down all that cardboard and then stropped this edge right back up to just under hair popping. Like I said, I'm probably gonna put it on a stone today. I got this one, and I got it kind of dull. I cut a bunch of stuff, and then typically I would go back and I would not take something that was fairly dull. I'm not gonna lie, it was fairly dull. Not typically something I would take and put on that Spyderco Ultrafine just to test, because it's not got the horsepower to remove chips and rolls. And there was a couple like rolled spots. I did it on that ceramic stone, and I'm telling you, I didn't need to go back to my sharpening set. I just touched it on that super ultrafine ceramic rod or plate and stropped it on newspaper, and it was nightmare inducing. So I am gonna sharpen this today and get the stuff out, but it takes a polish at a lower grit. Like, let's see if I can show you. Sometimes this doesn't want to come out, especially the way lighting is here in the house. So let's see, can I get you in on that? It's still, that's only a 600 grit, and it's not in focus. It's still a fairly polished edge. It polishes fairly easily. What was that? I missed it, I'm sorry. I'm a firm believer in ceramic rods for sure. I use a ceramic plate. I have a ceramic rod for my kitchen knives. This, and I bet if I touched that Rhea up on this, I could just split right through that paper towel. I've done, like, I did a video the one day here. Somebody was like, yeah, but can you cut a paper towel with it? And I was like, No, because it's too slick. But watch this. And one pass on a ceramic rod. And I was like, yeah, I don't put a lot of stock in the cutting paper towel test. To me, it's like, I don't put a lot of stock in it. It's no more difficult to get a knife that'll, actually, you can get a knife so it won't cut. You can get a knife with an edge fine enough it will not cut paper towel. And that was the problem I had with that Bowie chef. I had taken it up to 10,000 grit, 12,000 grit, something like that. And then I just hit it on this ceramic rod, if you guys remember in the video, and I sliced right through paper towel. Renaissance wax on blades. It depends on what you're gonna do with it. If you're gonna put it in a case and store it so it doesn't rust, it's a really good idea. Chris and Elliot did a run of knives in 3V and it kept rusting on them. And so people sent knives back to them and they couldn't keep the knives from rusting in the shop. 3V, 4V, they're really rusty. They rust real easy. They used, after they got done with whatever surface finish, while the blade was still fairly warm from grinding, they put some Renaissance wax on it, which I'm pretty sure Renaissance wax is just neutral shoe polish. It's exactly what it smells like. It smells like shoe polish. So yeah, I mean, it depends on what you're gonna do with it. I mean, if you're gonna put it on a knife and then think that it's gonna like stay there when you get done cutting stuff, it won't. I mean, it will to an extent. There's some other things you can use that I think are as good. There's some of the nano oil gets down in the steel really well. CLP will protect the blade, but I don't like it because it gets gummy. CLP is a super, super, super fine fluid, super thin fluid. And what people forget, what's up, babe?
Remember how yesterday I told you, like, but not yesterday, but like a long time ago.
Don't laugh, what's up?
I know. Like a long time ago, I told you that my alarm was like going off, but it wasn't making any noise.
Mm-hmm.
It did it again.
Okay, I'll get it figured out. Say hi. Okay, you get your hair in my coffee. What time are you guys skating?
We're leaving at 10:30.
10:30, okay. So anyway, what I was saying is, what people forget is that steel, your Aunt Sarah says hi. Hello. What people forget is steel is not impregnable. Steel is porous. Everything is porous. I don't put it on guns either. It gets gummy. I don't like it. It varnishes up. It's got too much Teflon in it. So anyway, so things like nano oil and CLP, they're super, super, super thin fluids. They soak into the steel, into the pores of the steel, and they stay there. So actually, I think that nano oil would be a better bet than Renaissance wax. Renaissance wax can't get down in because it's almost a solid. Things like CLP and things like that, they get down into the pores and they stay there. So if you're ever cleaning guns, like I use it to clean guns, but I don't leave it on guns. CLP is really good for cleaning. Actually, VVL 800 is the same thing without the Teflon. It's so thin, it gets down in the pores of the metal, it lifts the carbon out. So if you have a gun that you clean and you leave the CLP on it and come back 2 days later, there's more black, like you'll wipe it and you're like, oh wow, there's black stuff. It lifts the carbon out of those pores. So nano oil and CLP or VVL 800, VVL 800 would be my choice because it doesn't have the Teflon. It's clean and lubricate, it's not the protect. Then there's other stuff. I use this on so many things. This is TW25 Bravo. The problem is this tub of it right here would probably cost you $200. It was stuff that we had for gun systems. They said we couldn't use it. They were throwing it out, and I grabbed a tub of it. It looks like fluorinated grease. It doesn't leave a heavy coating of grease on your hands and stuff. You can put it on, leave it on for a little bit, wipe it off, but you have to make sure that you've cleaned all solvents, all your solvent-based lubricants off. This does not work well with solvent-based lubricants. So yeah, that's TW25 Bravo. It's a gun, it's a weapons thing, and it looks like this, and it smells like coconuts. It doesn't have a shelf life. It does not smell bad. I think it smells like coconuts, to tell you the truth, a little bit. But once you put that on there, leave it on for a couple hours and then wipe it off, it's on there. It's like a solid film lubricant. So, you know, Renaissance wax is good to a point. No, I don't think so. It's a synthetic. It's 100% fully synthetic. When we first started using that, we had that for 25 millimeter gun systems. We had that and the spray. The spray is great too. Hey, what's up, Matt? And we were just amazed because the old stuff we used to use was on a 25 millimeter gun system. It was what was it? Aviation gear and roller grease, I think. And it was this light brown colored oil, but you'd get it on your clothes and it would stain and never come out. And like basically, like, oh, I got to work 25 millimeter today. I got to go get my other pants and top or that pair of coveralls because it just never washed out. This stuff, if you get it on your clothes, it washes right out. It doesn't stain. It doesn't do anything. The stuff's weird and it's great. And I've been using it on my guns for years when they finally came out and said, yep, nah, you can't use that on small arms. So take it out of your armory. And so, and it does, the other thing about it is it does not have a shelf. It says right here on it, you guys can't read it because it's backwards, but it says it has a non-deteriorative, it's listed as a non-shelf life code of 0. It means it never goes bad. It never expires. So it's not one of those things you're like, oh, well, I'm telling you right now, some of your lubricants that you buy that come in the pins, they'll go bad. You can smell it. You can smell that they've went rancid. When you put it on, it's like, oh, it smells weird. Because they heat up and the additives and things are in it. They break down. That is the best grease I've found for on a lot of knives. Even, I use it, I treat it no different than fluorinated grease. I use it on my Sebenzas. For knives that run on washers, it's probably the best lubricant for them. Followed closely by the fluorinated grease, which, I mean, it's a toss-up. I can't really, fluorinated grease and that on washer knives is pretty much the best bet. And then I like the nano oil, but I use nano oil on my rain shirts or peppery oil stains. Look into it for sure. They have a spray. I'm not gonna lie to you. This shit is like fucking $10 an ounce or some shit like that. This is a 8-ounce tub, and I looked at the price, and it was insanely expensive. But I mean, it's like my buddy said. Why do divorces cost so much? Because they're fucking worth it. Like, this is one of those products where you're like, yeah, they're charging that much because it's worth that much. Gotta take my vitamins. Forgot to take my vitamins. Medicine. What are you watching?
TikTok.
My daughter's over here watching TikTok. TikTok. That's all she does. She skates, plays on TikTok.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So I took 3 of those. So this is why I'm pretty sure I could have been a drug addict. I took 3 of those in one pop. Some big pills. Just break. I know my sister, if she's on here, she's gonna be like, well, drug addict or gay porn. I know that's where it's going because my sister, if she's still here, I know that's where it's going because I know my sister. So, yeah, that's what I use on most of the washer knives because it works really good. And the thing is, I sometimes like it better than fluorinated grease because if I'm cleaning this up, fluorinated grease, it takes a lot. You gotta use alcohol, wash it. This, you can just kind of, I'm busy with the foster cat. My sister has a cat that's deaf. So that washes right off. So I can take the parts and I just pretty much wipe them off. Fluorinated grease sometimes it just takes more work to clean it up and get the knife cleaned up if I'm doing a spa treatment. So let me see. I have a phone cord over here, I believe. Hang on. I want to make sure my phone isn't dying. I don't have a phone cord over here somewhere. My wife has taken it and absconded somewhere with the great big long cord that I use for when the phone is in the tripod. It's long enough I can run it from the outlet all the way to the phone. she has pilfered it. So, yes, sis. By the way, yes, I did fix the Keurig again. There's a hose in there that keeps getting crimped. That keeps folding. I think it's too long. I'm debating if I should cut a piece off of it and then reattach the hose back onto this fitting, because it keeps coming off, or it keeps getting a bend in it, and then the water doesn't want to. It doesn't. No worky. Sometimes no worky. So let's see. You know what? For you guys, since you guys are here, and we were just talking about it, and I honestly, like I said, I don't think this. No, I'm not curious at all. You know why? Because I talk with Tim Reeve just about once a month. So, not curious about how it's going to be at all. I already know. And I have friends that have one. Okay, so we're going to do this. This is not wanting to cut the... It's cutting, but not like you would... It always gives it a little micro bevel that I wound up taking out later, but... Oh, it ripped, but it was cutting. There we go, see? Ooh, wow, yeah, ooh, that's really nice on the ceramic rod. Yes, ceramic rod. Because like I said, I cut up 2 big Amazon boxes and 2 cereal boxes with this yesterday. And that's the first it's gotten touched up on. Oh, wow. She's dangerous. This stuff, though, you don't want to go too fine. Yeah. I like magazine paper better, too. I think that this gives you a false positive. I think that because I can cut with a toothy 400 grit edge. I can cut paper towel. But there's times where you can't cut newspaper with a toothy. It just wants to rip. Newspaper is about the best test medium. But I don't have that much newspaper. Well, actually, I do have boxes of newspaper. I should start using that. But I use magazine paper because I keep getting like my VFW magazine. I read it and then I use it for testing. Like, okay, it's cutting. I'm basically I know it's razor sharp. I'm just trying to see if there's any places where it catches and tries to tear the paper. Because I do the thumbnail test. But, you know, depending on the coarseness of the edge, that's when you're going to see it. When you're cutting and you see it, like there's a catch or a drag in a piece of thin newspaper or magazine paper. That's all I'm doing. I already know how sharp it is. I've done this a lot. So, like cutting, not trying, I mean, it's cool. It's cool to show. It's a cool thing to show. Oh, I'm cutting tissue or I'm cutting paper towels. But it really isn't, like you'll get a much better result if you have a really good, like 400 grit edge than you're ever going to get trying to cut that at. Like if I gave you one of my 12,000 grit edges, it won't cut, it will not cut paper towel. It won't, it doesn't have enough tooth. That's a coarse paper. That fine paper out there, that's what you test your higher grit edges on. So it is cool though. Like I see the guys doing it and I'm not gonna fault them for it. It's like I'm not gonna say that for your own personal testing purposes. Like I cut down a bunch of cardboard. I'm not trying to do a scientific, like how long will this hold its edge? How many pieces will it cut? No, I just want to see, is this going to cut the way I want? And I use a test medium, but I'm not trying to portray that as repeatable scientific data. That's my problem with some of the stuff that people do. Cutting sisal rope. Okay, well, sisal rope is natural fiber. There's variations between each piece of fiber. Each piece of rope, each rope you buy, each section of that rope, there's going to be differences. Now, is it a good metric for you to see? Like, is it going to cut? Yeah. Is it a good edge? Yeah. Does the steel hold? Does it dull up real quick? Yeah, maybe not, maybe not. But I'm not trying to put any scientific numbers to it. And that's where Super Steel Steve and I have a tendency to disagree. He's like, my tests are 100% repeatable. I was like, if you're doing it by hand and you're not using a jig and you're not approaching it the same angle and the edges aren't exactly the same every time, then I'm going to disagree. because the purpose of science. Hey, what's up, Ashton? Thanks. The purpose of science and a scientific method is to remove the variables. And he just, I don't get me wrong, he has a lot of good things to say and he does a lot of good things. I just can't personally talk to him because he just, all he wants to do is argue. And I personally would rather have a debate that comes to some sort of conclusion where we both have gotten our points across, but it's not like that. Yeah, because facts hurt. Feelings, that's what's important these days. Feelings, that's what's important. Ignore the facts that a mask will reduce the spread of a virus by 1/3. Yes, I know that the virus is smaller and can make it through the mask, but not all of it, because most of it's is trapped inside large droplets of saliva that the mask stop. So right now, if you don't wear a mask and you have corona, you have a good chance of infecting 3 people. If you're wearing a mask, you have a chance of infecting 1 person. If that person wears a mask, they only infect 1. And we're able to get on top of it as opposed to 3. And then the law of large numbers and exponential numbers gets crazy. As much as I love America, this whole mask thing, I don't get it. I get it. It's not as deadly as we originally thought, but still, it's making people sick. It's putting them in the hospital. It's stressing our country to its limits. And you're not willing to even try? Like, everybody flipped out about 9/11. There are more people dying every week from this virus than there are people that died on September 11th. We went out of our way to make sure that never happened again after September 11th. But we're not willing to wear a mask? I wear a mask everywhere I go. Everywhere. That's not because I'm a sheep. I just choose to, 1, not get sick. And if I am sick, I just won't go. And if I have to go somewhere, I wear a fucking mask. Yeah, we already talked about Uncle Joe yesterday. I have family members that I can't figure out why. Like, there's like family members, you're just like, I don't know why, I just don't want to talk to them. And then every once in a while you'll hit that one point where you're like, oh, I fucking get it. We talked about how incredibly selfish some members of my family are. Like, oh, I couldn't stay out there. I wouldn't stay out there for any reason. And I was like, I'm a parent. Oh, I'm a parent. And once I had my daughter, it's no longer about me. That's what being a parent is. My wants and needs fall way down on the spectrum. From when I get married, my wife sits here. I have a kid, they sit up here. And the fact is that I stayed out here in California against my wishes, not wanting to be out here, not against my wishes. I don't like being out here. It's too expensive to live and things like that. However, my daughter has a good chance that she could go to the Olympics. And if I take her out of this, where she has coaches and resources available to pursue that dream, she won't ever get to do it. So me not wanting to be in California is irrelevant because I have a child. I am a parent. When you become a parent, if you're a good parent, you don't give a shit what happens to you after that child is born because your focus is shifted. Before it was you and your wife and you just want to be happy. You have a whole nother life you are responsible for. And if you can't accept that, you should not have a kid at all, period. If you can't be a person that will say, okay, I'm going to put everything I want, the things that I want, on hold so that this child can pursue the things that they want, then 1, you're a shit person, and 2, you shouldn't have kids. Second time I put my life on hold for the needs and wants of others. I joined the military and I did it for 18 years and I did it. And I don't want you guys, before you guys start throwing thanks for your service, there's no need to thank me. I loved every fucking minute of it. So I don't get offended when people say that. I just wish that if they could see inside my head that that there is no need. I mourn my retirement every day. I wake up and I'm like, I don't get to go do that anymore. And I get dressed and I do something else. So let's see here. What was this? No, I have been told by people that have it that I do not want it, having an autoimmune disorder. And as my sister, I'm too poor and crazy to put in charge of another human. they only eat, they don't even feed themselves. And then they turn into teenagers and you can barely stand having them in the house. But then you like see them and you're like, oh, I want to go talk to my daughter. I want to talk her into doing, we got to do something. And then you talk to her for like 30 seconds. You're like, I want you to grow up and move out. And the next morning you wake up and you see him, you're like, oh, you remember like the little baby that just all they wanted to do was daddy and like sit in your lap and go watch TV and play games. And then they hit a teenager and you're like, I don't like you. Like you come down, you see them, you get up and they come downstairs, you're like, oh, and then you see them and the first words out of their mouth is something edgy and angsty and fucking, you just like, yeah, that's enough for today. Man, enough of that. Now I'm gonna find something else to do. I was gonna ask you if you want to go to the playground, but fuck you. And I can honestly tell you, if you have not flipped your children off behind their back when they're not looking, you're not a parent. It's true. Kid turns around here. No, wait, what? What? Oh, yeah. I'll put some ketchup on your chicken nuggets. And those of you who don't have children, just fucking wait. Just wait. Or in the case of my sister, just don't do it. Says there's enough crazy weirdness in our family, we do not need to add to it. Okay? We do not need to add to it at all. I went far enough out of our fucking family tree that I got new blood. This one's gonna be okay. This one could be a normie. We're hoping. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed she's not gonna be a crazy piece of shit like us. Fingers crossed. Guys, my dad got out of the, I'm not gonna lie to you. You can ask my sister. Yes, yeah, I can see that. You can ask my sister. It's like me and my sister come from a diverse part of our family. Like there was new genetic material thrown in. There's a lot of our family that the family tree looks like the fucking Olympic rings. We lot of gnarled stump. It's more like a fucking family tree. Looked like a telephone pole, Olympic rings. The other one that I had said. Family tree. We don't really have a family tree. We just have a big fucking box and everybody, big board, and everybody draws their names on it and draws lines. Multiflora rose bush. It's all tangled up and gnarly. There are no branches. You talking? There's no vultures. You gotta have branches for vultures. I can't land on this. Shocked in Ohio. 22,000 people, 4 last names. Is it still in the 20,000s? 22,000? Or is it like 10 now? Sis, if you're still here. This is the county seat. It's bad. We call them Coshitiots. We don't even call them Coshoctonians, which is their technical name for someone that's from Coshocton. Yeah, there's 2 sets of Emilers. I've told that story. 20,000? Yeah, 20,000 people, like 4 last names. I'm not joking. Like, you go home, and you're like, hey, that looks like... And they're like, no, it doesn't. Hey, no, it isn't. Well, it looks like... Yeah, it looks like... Because it's a very limited genetic material. Everybody looks like fucking everybody there. It's just an inbred fucking mass of, like, really, really similar facial features. I mean, you have some that are worse than others, like the Pondus family. That's a closed loop network right there. That is a closed loop network. There are no Pahonduses that are not like fucking not inbred as shit. That's my sister for you guys. But it's password protected. You say that as a joke, Alex. It's not. Like, Have you guys ever watched The Wild, Wonderful Whites of West Virginia? And my sister can weigh in on this. They say that's the last outlaw family. Motherfucker, that is my family. They need to go up to Southeast Ohio and take a good look at my family and be like, holy shit, are these the whites too? I didn't know there were whites in Ohio. I thought they were all there except the one that moved to Michigan. No, that's just how it is in Appalachia. It's just how it is. Dirt fucking poor, trying to find a way to make money on anything. People are fucking selling prescriptions. People are stealing prescriptions and reselling them. Fucking robbing people, stealing shit, fucking running drugs. It's just how it is. Okay. Let me tell this story. So we have some distant cousins that their mother died, and the three sons, I believe, stole the hearse. So everybody's in the funeral. They sneak out before the end of the services at the funeral home. Their mother is in the hearse. They steal the hearse and drive off with it. Everybody comes up for the funeral procession. Hearse is gone. What the fuck? Yeah, hearse. I say it with a T. It's just, I can't do it. So hearse, they can't do it without a T. It just happens. It's like creek and crooked river. It just happens. I can't do it. I can't help it. Anyway, so they steal it. The big fucking paddy wagon for dead bodies. Is that better? They wanted to have one last beer. They took their mother to go have a beer with her and then brought the body back. Everybody comes out of the services and the body ain't there. Somebody done stole it. It done runned off. That's my family. You can't make that shit up. Comedians can't write that. I lived it. There's definite reasons why this channel has the tone and Corpse Cruiser, the tone and timbre that it does, because there's a good influence from my previous life as if you've played Red Dead Redemption 2, Butcher Creek. I'm like one of the citizens of Butcher Creek in that fucking video game. I escaped. I didn't so much. Everybody's like, "Oh, Mike took a job and he left and he got away." To answer my Uncle Joe's question, why I still live in California, that's as far as I could get away from my family and not need an airplane. I mean, a boat. It's as far as I can get from my family on the continental United States. That sounds horrible, but it's true. Deep down inside, that's as much as I might play it off. It's because my daughter and wife want to stay here, which they do. And I really don't like it here. I'd like to move maybe to Colorado or someplace where some of the other areas where it's more affordable for me to live. Maybe Arizona, but deep down inside, it's just that my family can't just show up for a visit by accident. None of them have a car that'll make it here with their clothes all packed in 7-Eleven bags and Piggly Wiggly. The Chex Box where they Piggly Wiggly bags coming off. Taped up Piggly Wiggly bags, that's their luggage. They don't just show up. None of them got a truck or an old 80s Chevy Taurus that'll make it this far. Ford Taurus that'll make it this far. I saw an old beat up or license. They're probably shooting. I have a cousin. They have these deer. They call them robo deer. They've got a camera and stuff, and they put them out along the side of the road to catch poachers, guys that are spotlighting. So spotlight and then shoot the deer from the road. It's completely, totally illegal. You get tickets and stuff for it. I have a cousin that got caught shooting the same robo deer twice. Let me say that again. Twice. It was in the... I mean, really, it's just a cemetery. It's a big waste of land. I'd go hunting. I mean, I'd go deer hunting. If there was a deer and it was in a cemetery, I'd pop it one and drag it out so it didn't look like I shot it in the cemetery. I ain't gonna lie. That's something this would be great for, guys. I just thought if you like small game hunter, this would be perfect. Yeah, yeah, I know. Our father, avid hunter, cop, arguing. Yeah, that's the Rhea. This would be if you were like a small game kind of guy. If like you were a trapper, like I said, there are people that still do trap. This would be a perfect knife for skinning out small game. I just thought about this thing is perfect for that. It's actually I look at it, it's got kind of a trapper profile to it. It's real comfortable. If you ever get back in touch with me, Ashton, you can stop by and see it sometime. This, however, isn't going anywhere. Oh, so I am going to start sending the prototype out. I talked to Russell yesterday. Prototype is going to the green one. This is mine. No one's getting this. I have it set up for scout carry. I bought soft loops for it because I knew it wasn't going to come with any. It comes only as a necker. Soft loops aren't that much though. Like they're like I think they're like $8 a pair. So that's how they're coming. I'm gonna send it off to Knife Junkie. I'm gonna try and get a hold of Bobby today and see if he's got a group of people he wants to send around to. When he's done sending that around, then I'm gonna send it and try and get a hold of some guys to put it to get it put up with. I'm gonna try and get a hold of maybe the Apex pass around. Eric Outer. Eric, I'm gonna tell him like he's gonna be the last person to ever get it because a lot of times he does destructive testing. This isn't really an outdoors knife. This is more like an everyday EDC. It sits, guys. I had it on all day yesterday. Small in the back scout carry. I took my pants off to go to bed last night. I was like, oh shit, that's right, that's back there. It was still on my belt. I forgot it was there. It doesn't even weigh 4 ounces. Another, yeah, but yeah, what is this? Yeah, you even want to? Oh yeah, it was your birthday. Sorry, happy birthday. I saw it on Instagram and I didn't even think about it. I forgot. I'm stoked on a fixed blade, but the fact is I've made a bunch of them and I'm cool with it being back there. I'm actually really excited about how much I like this knife. It's been a long time. I did a video yesterday and I talk about it. It's been a long time since I've been excited about new stuff in the knife world. And the fact is that there are so many good, affordable knives that are coming out now. You talk about it in my video, and you'll see it when the video goes up. I did a video yesterday about comparing a Chavez 228 to a 229, mid-tech to full production, and kind of touch on it. Like the customs were great from Ramon, but then the mid-techs were better because one, you could get them more easily. They were way cheaper. And it was they were more of them. They were more readily available, and a lot of times the consistency was. I'll answer that in a little bit. They're going to be on Amazon, but I don't know how soon. The consistency was better on mid-techs than they were on customs. So you know they had so then the companies that were doing the mid-tech work, the simple work, were like, why are we only doing just the OEM stuff? And making parts, and then they're doing the finishing and stuff. We're capable of this. Like, we're doing this. Why don't we start getting designs licensed to us and start making knives? So you've had a complete flip from where customs were the best. Production knives were garbage. They were way down here. Like, we're talking like, there were a couple companies that made decent ones like Buck and Case, but they weren't like super high quality knives. They're just your everyday worker knives. Everything else was like just gas station garbage knives. Then, all right, Matt, I'll talk to you later. Then you had the custom knives, which were, yeah, everybody wanted custom knives, but that was an exclusive group. So either you had a garbage production knife or you had a really nice custom. There was no mid-ground. And then they came out with mid-tech. And so the mid-tech stuff, later sis, the mid-tech stuff kind of filled that gap because you could get it. It was closer to the custom quality than the production knives. It was cheaper, usually like half the price of the full custom. And you could get more of them, so it was more available. Now, they're doing knives based on those designs, quality production. The companies that started doing the mid-tech work had to be held to a higher standard than what they were just making garbage $12 knives. So you had a bunch of companies that are like, look, we can get these designs, we can make them ourselves, and we all make money. And designers and people like me were like, well, that's great. Like Mark Begg talks about it when you see when I finally get that video edited, it's gonna take a little bit. There's a lot to edit. But he says it like, you know, You have guys that buy 8, 10, 12, 20, $50,000 custom knives, but they're the peak, the pinnacle, the top of the pyramid. That's an exclusive group. So those designs, no, everybody coveted them, never got to see them. So now you have a whole bunch of super high quality production knives that are coming out, and you can get your hands on a knife that's every bit, if in a lot of cases, it's my knife in particular, you can get a knife that is better than the custom quality for less, because the production knives are more consistent. There's more QA. I make custom knives. I ain't gonna lie. There's times you go and you start grinding, you're like, you're in a bad mood and shit just doesn't go right. And you just fucking toss it off the side. And now you've got a knife that you have to fix. And that consistency, it's not gonna be as good as the last one because you fucked it up. And you gotta try and salvage that, because I got news for you. No custom knife maker goes, oh, I made a mistake, and throws it away. No, motherfucker, they fix that because they can't afford to replace the steel. They can't afford to replace the belts they've already wasted on that. They find a way to fix it. They hide flaws. You know what rock pattern is? I use it because I like it. I use a heavy, deep rock pattern because I like the way it looks when you tumble it. 9 times out of 10, you get a guy that's putting a knife up that was not pre-ordered and it's got rock pattern everywhere, he fucked something up on that. It will hide flaws. So we're at a point where there are $40 knives. This is $43 on some websites. Knife makers don't make mistakes. They make more interesting knives or different knives. I'm not gonna lie, I've made a couple that started out as a big knife and something happened. You're like, ooh, I gotta fix that. And you wind up with, like you said, a lot smaller knives. And I mean, don't get me wrong, there's exceptions to that. But I guarantee you that Demko is not I don't think he's probably hand grinding that without a jig and stuff like that. So, the sheath, what was that? Bernard, is sheath of your new knife channel to the EDC. Yeah, it's just Kydex. No Teflon. It's not tough light. It's not that other super hard heat molded stuff. It's pretty easy on it. It's in and out all the time. I use it all the time. This is a $40 knife that I'm telling you right now is MSRP is $70. It's worth more than that, but they're only selling it for that because they can, because they were able to in-house all of it, with the exception of micarta. Basically, you're paying for this knife at $40, and I'm telling you right now, this is better. This is better than some of the $400 and $500 folders that I've seen out there. I don't know. The Kydex has been around forever. Kydex is your best bet with this, especially like for something small like this. Yeah, well, okay, I could see that. I mean, the customs, yeah, but like I said, it's rare. It's rare to find a custom maker that the quality is as consistent or as good as some of the production knives these days. I'm gonna tell you right now, like the Demko, yeah, Demko does a really, really good job, but that's just because he's so anal about everything he wants it to be. This knife is too small for a leather sheath. The way you would carry it, I'm afraid it would punch through. It doesn't have enough width to keep you from bending that leather over because it's only just a little over a 3-inch blade. So, you know, I'm afraid it would punch through. And for scout carry, I want that retention. I want that click, and the retention on these sheaths is great. And it has a little drain hole. Not that you need it. I'm gonna tell you guys something that might seem weird. I've been carrying this on the chain. I've been carrying it on the ball chain in the shower and then not doing anything, just leaving it wet in the sheath. I can't even, like I said, I'm not seeing any spotting, any patina. I've cut stuff with this that normally would stain or patina a blade. I've been doing it with both of them, and it just doesn't. It just doesn't stain. So like I said, I can't tell you the composition, but but Brian's not hand grinding anything. It's AR RPM 9. It's proprietary. They have not released the... Okay, so guys, we got like a minute left before I've hit an hour and I have to take the dog out to take a shit. No, it's not 20 CV. This is not, it is a proprietary steel, and they have not released the composition because it's being made in Japan. And if you guys know anything about Japan, there are no copyright protection laws in Japan. So if they announce that, every other Chinese company is going to start making their knives out of this steel because it is really, really awesome. So what they have to find a way to do is tie this somehow to something. It's got to be, they're going to have to find a way to do it like stateside or something like that, or partially stateside or something to get those US copyright protection laws. Because if they release the composition of this, it's gonna overwhelm the market. Every knife in that fucking $50 to $100 range is gonna be made in this, because it's a better option than D2 and things like that. It really is way better than D2. But they can't release it because the second they do, everybody's gonna be doing it. And it's proprietary. So, I mean, the flip side of that is like, everybody's like, well, I was like, look, no, it's not like 440C. It's not. It's closer to, it sharpens and feels like RWL34. And it doesn't stain like VG. No, guys, you're not listening to me. It's not like either of them. It's not like 440C, but because Japan has copyright laws. So it's not like 440C. The composition is nothing like, it's not really like RWL34, but the way it takes an edge, the way it holds an edge really well, even though it's easy to sharpen, sharpens really well on aluminum oxide, not so great on diamond. I just told you, I cut down like 3 Amazon boxes and like all the cardboard boxes I could find and stropped it on a piece of newspaper. No, it's not like AEBL at all. AEBL doesn't form carbides. AEBL, when you touch it, it's not gonna feel sharp. It doesn't form carbides like a lot of other steels. It's really good for kitchen knives, but it's not the same. How do I rate RWL34? It's my second favorite steel. I talked about it on the Knife Junkie podcast. But anyway, so here, check it out. So like I said, it sharpens really easily on aluminum oxide because it's not got, it has no it doesn't have like a lot of vanadium and shit in it. So it sharpens easily on most stones. It comes up easy. It takes a good edge. It's got such a super fine grain structure that at about 10,000 grit, it's super fine, and you strop it and it's terrifying, but it doesn't have a lot of bite at that grit. This is a 600 grit edge. I stropped it on newspaper. I cut up half a 5-gallon jug full of, or half a 5-gallon bucket full of cardboard. Just cut it all up into little pieces and filled that 5-gallon bucket halfway up. And then stropped it again on newspaper, and it was still cutting hair. It strops easy. It holds an edge really well. I didn't feel at any point during cutting that cardboard that I had to stop and strop the edge. It just kept screaming through corrugated cardboard. The factory edge on it was great. And the fact is, like I said, just touching it on a strop brings it right back up. Now, it probably needs sharpened. It probably does need sharpened because it's not so, it's definitely better than S30V. It's, I don't know, like S90, no, I'm telling you, like, it's not in composition like RWL, but the way it sharpens and the edge it takes and just holds an edge in comparison to how easy it sharpens, it holds an edge really well. Like, I would expect something that, before I really got into sharpening and sharpened a bunch of different kinds of steel, I would expect steels that are easy to sharpen to not hold an edge as well, because that's what I encountered with cheap, budget, garbage knives. Sharpened real easy, lost its edge real easy. But there's some steels, RWL34, LMAX, and some others that are easy, relatively easy to, S90V, another one, relatively easy to sharpen, but then hold that edge really well. This, I don't think this doesn't hold its edge as well as S90V. It's never going to. S90V is a beast, but it sharpens fairly easily. This sharpens fairly easily. The nice thing, yeah, LMAX is easy. I think LMAX is. LMAX, production LMAX, fairly easy to sharpen. The nice thing about it is, if you got a wood block and a piece of newspaper, you got a strop that this material loves. This strops better on newspaper than it does on my diamond straps. I don't ask me why. Newspaper does have a lot of ceramic muds and things like that. Yeah, fair and forge Elmax, no. Production Elmax, yeah. Yeah, still sharpens easily, but it holds that edge beautifully well for a long time. Polishes, same thing with this. Polish is super easy. So that's one of the things about like Elmax, RWL, they will, at a lower grit, take almost a mirror look to them. This is a 600 grit edge, and it looks pretty mirror polished. And only thing I stropped it on was newspaper wrapped around my sharpening stone. I just took a handful, like a whole newspaper, rolled it around. I like them both, but I would take RWL. I would take RWL over Elmax just because of the edge it takes, which that's kind of what this does. Really, really terrifying edge. Yeah. Yeah, both of the knives that I'm talking about, my knife and this knife, they're in RPM 9. This is a $40 knife. This is less than 60. I'm not breaking your bank. For what you're going to pay for a lot of other things, you could get both of these for what you'd pay for knives that aren't even close. To the performance of that. I'm telling you right now, that knife right there is better than any, okay, God, I'm gonna piss people off if I say this out loud. This knife right here is better than any knife I've seen come out of millet. And this is a $40 knife. Go buy a millet for less than $40, or for less than 60 bucks. That is better than any millet I've ever handled. And the action, dude, guys, that's some snappy ass action. And it's got like if you want a lanyard, you can put one on. If you don't want one, there's no hole. It's in that standoff. This is the CJRB Rhea by Artisan Knives. And keep in mind, this one was a prototype. This does not have the actual clip. This has. If you buy one actual, Ashton, you'll love it. It has a deep carry pocket clip, which I've seen those ones, and it does not look like it's no taller than this. The deep carry on it is no taller than this, and I don't think that one would hurt my hands. I don't think I would have a problem with that deep carry clip. And so yes, the fixed blade is mine. This was my design through them, and it is super thin. And some people ask, so the blade stock is thin, and the grind comes down to the choil, but it's not sharp. It's softened really well, and I can get my entire big ass finger in that choil, and you can get way up on it, and you can do detail cutting. It's nice and rounded. It's got a fat spot back here at the back, so you can get back on it if you need to really. It's slicey. It is so thin. I'm going to tell you right now, this thing, like, look at that. It is all, like, there's your bevel, and then it's gone. Like, it's that thin. Like, it's almost zero ground. I will say, like, if you're going to get one of these, don't think you're going to be able to do any prying or anything like this. I think this tip, if you were going to do any prying and stuff like that, I'm pretty sure you'd break this tip off. It is really thin at the tip, but that's not what this knife was designed for. What was that? Order them in jade or marble carbon fibers. Yeah. No, this is what you're getting right now. This is what it is. If you guys want stuff like that, I need you to let me know. I'm going to put up a thing. Okay, I'm going to put up a thing on my comments section about, would you like to see this with some other handle options? Because the fact is, they went out on a limb. Fixed blade knives don't always sell well. What is the thickness behind the edge? I don't know. This is the prototype. I don't know until they really start grinding and what it's going to be. It's super thin. It's almost zero ground. It is one of the thinnest knives I've had come in a very long time. They don't have specs on what it is behind the edge. But what I'm telling you is, if you guys want different handle options, I'll put a thing up in the community tab, and you got to go do it, because the only way I can get them to do that is if we have And be honest about it. If you're not gonna fucking buy it, don't do it. I've done this before. That's why I just got rid of the last of the Crazy Sharp shirts the other day. I bought a bunch of merchandise. Everybody said they wanted one. When it came time to actually get them and pay for them, no one came through. Like a handful, like Dwayne Smotherman and a handful of people came through on it. I lost a lot of money on them shirts. There was a whole lot of shirts that got ordered. So if you guys really truly want them to offer an upgraded option with better handle scales, I'll put that in the community tab. Go comment on what you would want, and I will forward that information to the US rep. But don't say you're gonna do it and then because you fuck the company. That's the whole thing. The reason they're holding back on some of this stuff is they wanna see how this sells. So if a bunch of people go in and say they want that and then they start making them and then no one buys them, I look like a dickhead. More so than usual. I mean, let me preface that. More so than usual. There we go. Put that in parentheses. So yeah, it's just, if you guys want stuff like that, we need to know. And if you guys want a larger version at the price, you probably could. Give them away as Christmas presents. That's a nice thing. Right now, they're 54. They're 53.67. It's some weird, I don't know what the number they came with. They're like $53.61 or something like that. That's something like, if you wanted to buy Christmas presents, you could buy a handful of them and give them out to your friends and not feel like, holy crap, I bought him like an $800 knife. No, you got him like a decent knife for less than, you could buy 2 of them, give one to your mom, give one to your dad for less than $100. I mean, they're nice. I find it to be a little long for a neck knife, but it's not horrible. I like to personally carry it scout carry. I think the scout carry is more comfortable. And it's more of a natural place. Nice thing, you can put it on your side. I've been carrying it. It doesn't pattern. It's so small for me that I can put it on my left side, like cross draw, and have no problem because it's not patterning. It doesn't show under clothing and things like that. Let me see if I can get this set up. Maybe you guys can see here. It sits beautifully right there. I forget it's there. I had it on all day yesterday. I was like, I took my pants off. I was like, oh shit, that knife's still there. So super light. I did the video about it. You guys can look up specs of like overall length, weight, and all that's in the video I did on my yesterday. I put it up. I put it up a few days ago, but I just made it live to you guys. So tomorrow's video, I believe, is going to be the trip up, the road trip to Bag Knives and Mattia Barani Cutlery. I'm almost done with the edit on the actual shop video. So, well, guys, it's been 72 minutes, 10 o'clock in the morning. I take the dog out before she winds up shitting on the floor. So, yeah, keep an eye out. Don't forget, I do sharpen knives as a business. If you got knives you need sharpened, you can send them to me. You don't have to ask. Just send me an email. Be like, hey, I need some knives sharpened. Like, okay, I'm here. So I got some knives from Bobby D over at, don't know yet. It depends. We were waiting on prototypes to get to me, Matt. So prototypes got to me so that I could approve everything. And then once I get done, once I went through the approval process, now that officially I gave them permission yesterday to start making the actual production ones. So yeah, I mean, just keep an eye out on Artisan's website. They've got a spot for it. And if you look up on Knife News, my knife was on the cover of Knife News. Yeah, they asked me for permission. I wouldn't have signed a contract with a company like that. As a matter of fact, when I talked to We Knives and told them other companies, well, Cody, I accept that from you because, well, you're in the Air Force and you don't know any better. Like, you're like, oh. I mean, being in the Cub Scouts is compared to, if you were in the Cub Scouts, you were closer to being a military than anyone in the Air Force. Except maybe the PJs and the Ravens. I am going to admit, them motherfuckers are badasses. PJs are badasses. Yeah, I know. So, all right, guys. I'm going to get off of here. I'm not working out this week. It's recovery week. I'm just going to do some light cardio and stuff. So, expect me to look fat in videos because I'm really not working out. You have to do a recovery. When you're working out as hard as I was there for a couple weeks, especially with my buddy Brent, lifting really heavy, you've got to take a week every once in a while. He recommended that I take this week as a recovery week. I did do biceps and triceps because I don't want to jump back into working out next week. If you've ever had like take a week off and not worked out your arms, that first workout after where you're like that spot of your arm right there is so sore. So I did a light bicep tricep workout just to keep blood flowing into muscle, and so it wasn't going to be. That's the only reason I did it. So because I know how sore your arms get. Like I can accept my chest being sore, I can accept my legs being sore. Your legs are always sore after workout, but not like when you get ready to go to do something like, oh fuck, my arms are too sore for this. Not good. Not good at all. We don't have cold water, Murray. There's really not cold water. Our water lines run under the blacktop, and a day like yesterday, it's like 82 degrees. The sun beats on it, and so your water line's coming into your house. Your water's hot. It's not cold. It's really not. They ran those lines so close to the surface. They had to have, because I'll turn the cold water on, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Is this broke? Why is there no cold water? Like it's like days where it's like 100 and something degrees, and you're like, just take a cool shower, and you turn the water on, and you're like, fuck, that's not even got any hot water in it, and it's still hot. It sucks. So, hey guys, gotta go. Love y'all. I'll talk to you later. See you in the next one. Take it easy. All that stuff. Gotta go do stuff. Why is that not working? There we go.